Welcome to the podcast, everyone.
Indeed. Sorry we haven't been on for
Frickin' forever. It's been a while.
But it is excellent to be back.
It's been too long. I think 4 months, has it been?
It's been 4 months.
Tim, why haven't we been on for frickin' forever? 4 months forever? Never mind. How long? I mean, what have you been up to for the last 4 months, Tim, besides school?
Besides school, I've been up to quite a bit.
All right. Tell us about
it.
Great, Tim. Brilliant insight. Come on. Give us something more than that.
Okay. Other than school, I've actually done a few second jobs. One of which was working for a place called Valvoline, which does automotive oil changes. And then once I quit that place, I went to Sensi because Sensi was much better working conditions and more pay.
Yep.
But I couldn't continue working at Sensi because they wanted to move everybody to the day shift. And since I still had a week of school left plus finals, I couldn't do day shift. So they said, just come back after you're up and we'll see if we have any available openings.
And they didn't?
As of yet, they do not.
Great.
But I am looking for a second job on top of what I already do right now.
Well, that sucks, Tim. I'm sorry.
I'm okay with it.
I'm insensitive, but that's just my personality, so don't judge.
Well, to be honest, Sensi was one of the best places I've ever worked.
Exactly. So why are they like, man, you can't work here anymore? And not really you can't work here, but more like, we'll see if you have any availability and not try to do anything for you in order to get you to stay there. That's just stupid.
Well, what happened was I was one of 200 people, and I was chosen from that list to stay. Like when they had to do massive layoffs because demand wasn't as high, I was one of 50 people who was chosen to stay because I worked so hard.
Dang, good job.
Yeah.
That's impressive. But so, yeah, I understand. So basically they took another one of those 150 people out, and yeah, that's understandable.
We were just making bath bombs. I would come home smelling like sea salt avocado and sun-kissed citrus.
Sea salt avocado?
I have no idea.
Avocado.
I have no idea. My mom would stay up so that she could see me when I come home because I would smell so good.
Oh my gosh, that's a little creepy, to be honest.
Well,
I waited until you got home so I could smell you.
No, she wanted me to sit on the furniture and everything.
Oh, okay. That's funny, though. Not judging. Your mom's amazing, by the way.
My mom's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, speaking of which, what was it? There's this one Studio C about, like, lotions and stuff like that. It was like this guy, the kiosk salesman, we'll call him Joel. I don't think it was Joel, but basically he's like, we'll sell you some lotion. Here's a Star Wars themed called Pomegranate Palpatine, and then they buy like a gigantic thing for it. And then one other guy goes like, all right, we need to put you in a body bag so we can get past them. And they're like, well, we have a new lineup of My Little Pony lotion called Broshin.
I've seen that actually. It is hilarious.
It's amazing. But that's what I thought of when you said Sensi and coming home smelling nice. I'm like, lotion. Long live the lotion.
Anyway, what have you been up to?
Lots of screaming. I can't really scream that well. I only can impersonate a scream because I don't actually scream. It's like that meme that says, he scream, for he does not know.
He attack, he protect, but most importantly, he scream.
He scream. Screm. SCREM. But anyways, so first of all, I've been doing school. Second of all, I've been doing this thing called interns, which is basically a Bible school. And both of them are a little bit over full-time. So I'm doing 2 full-time schools. Plus, as part of interns, I'm part of the production crew. So, and the thing is, I'm one of the 3 sound engineers for the weekends and stuff like that. and I know how to patch and put together stages a little bit better than some of the people who've never done it before, because I've been doing it for about 7 years. So basically, it's like a part-time job along with 2 full-time schools. So you could imagine how much sleep I got. None. Absolutely none. So yeah, I have had absolutely no time at all.
That's a little bit worse than what your usual average is, which is like 4 hours.
Yeah. During that course of the time, I think I got an average around 4 or 5 hours of sleep each night. So even on weekends, like I was doing homework up until a heck of late hour. And yeah, so it wasn't healthy. And so I'm still doing interns because I absolutely love interns and I love doing the production stuff. But school is on the back burner because I don't like school. I never liked school, but specifically I chose to do interns over it because interns is way more important. It is important to learn about the Bible, you know.
Just a little bit.
Despite how I act on the podcast, despite my normal rants, this is just because Tim's in the room. I have to taunt him. But otherwise, it is very important. And I can help teach any of y'all if you have any questions. But other than that, leave it in the comments below and subscribe.
Well, now that we've talked about the past, we'll talk about the future more towards the end of the podcast.
Okay.
For now, let's talk about your after Christmas party.
Oh, fun. All right. So the day after Christmas party is a party that I put on the day after Christmas. Whoop-de-frickin' do.
No.
What? But I put it on every year. The last one was the 7th annual, I believe. And basically, it's just a day where I can hang out with friends that I haven't seen in a while, or even friends I have seen just the day before. We just all come together and hang out, and it's like I have literally about 7 or 8 different groups of friends, and they all come together, and they're all really cool, freaking awesome bros, and not bros, the other sisses, I guess, or bros and sisses. I don't
Sisters.
know. Sisters, yes, but never mind. Don't just cut that out. I don't know, but. Yeah, we all hung out. We were playing video games, ate a lot of food, watched some M&As.
M&Ms?
M&Ms. And yeah, it was great. Problem was, though, is that I invited about 80 people. About 50, 60 said that they could come, and about 25 canceled on me on the day of because it was just a little bit icy out on the road. They're wimps, by the way.
Didn't somebody text you at 1 a.m.?
Yeah, they kind of did. But that was just one person. But still, it was just, I don't know. It felt a little bit rude, but whatever. There were still about 30 people who came, and it was still really fun. I wish more people would have come. But then again, my house wouldn't be able to hold them. So, I think it all worked out.
Well, considering a house doesn't have hands.
Tim, go home.
I am home.
Anyways, so yeah, it was pretty fun. Near the end, we talked about a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, and one other quick story is if you've ever played Betrayal Under the Bridge in the Apartment, whatever it's called, the
Betrayal on the House on the Hill.
Yeah, however you pronounce that. They played. It was a 4.5 hour game. I think it was 4.5 hours, or was it 8? I think it was 4.5. Yeah, it was I think it was a 5 hour game. That's about right. And the normal time for one of those games is about 45 minutes. The longest I've ever played is 1 hour and 30 minutes. And 5 freaking hours from 4 o'clock in the morning till I think it was 8:30, 8:45 ish. It was insane. And basically all that happened was one person turned into a dragon, and you had to find all these pieces of armor to defeat it. But basically 2 out of the 3 people who were going against the traitor, they died right off the bat. And so one of them was just trying to use the mystic elevator to go back and forth between these 2 rooms, and he couldn't get the freaking roll right. And so then the dragon would catch up to him. He wouldn't be able to get the thing. And so basically, I think it was for about 2.5 straight hours, he was just running around all over the place trying to get the pieces. And he finally won, but it took absolutely forever. I think goodness I was out of that. I was talking with a good friend of mine just for about 1 hour and 30 minutes straight. And yeah, once I got back into that, we all talked for a whole bunch, and it was great. It worked out really well. As for that, that's basically the summary of that. But Tim, I heard that you went on an Italy trip.
Well, yes, but this was on the 28th as opposed to the 26th.
Yeah. But I still heard that you went on an Italy trip, Tim.
I did. Basically, what happened was my parents and the rest of the family and like 2 other families really are getting into traveling outside of the country.
Ew. Sorry, go on.
You say that. When was the last time you were out of the country?
Look, I like hanging out with friends. So, like, if I'm out of the country with friends, then I can deal with it. But if it's like, hey, let's go to this separate country where you know none of the cultural norms and you're just out there with your family. Ew. No, not judging. But, like, I don't find any enjoyment in being in an unrelated environment for absolutely no reason other than, quote unquote, enjoyment. And I don't find enjoyment in that. So that's just me, though. I know it's interesting, but it's only fun when you're with friends.
So you wouldn't want to go on a trip outside of the country with Luke and Christina?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
Because it's Luke and Christina. No, don't. I'm not judging Luke and Christina at all. They've gotten better in the past couple years, but it's specifically because it's family. You know, it's like I can't really describe it in any specific way, but it's like literally all it would be is just we'd be debating a lot and not really focusing on actually being in that environment and enjoying it. It'd mostly just be like, hey, you have to pay this time. No, you have to pay. And let's go to this place. No, I want to go over here. It's like, let's just split the group. And suddenly it's just boring. And then suddenly you go back to the apartment or the hotel or wherever you're going. And you're just like, I want the bed. And you're like, no, I want the bed. There's no internet here. And nothing works. So not for me. Not for me at all.
That's why you plan things out beforehand. You get the
Yeah,
right
with
hotel.
friends, not with siblings, Tim.
All right. From the sounds of it, it sounds like if you were to just go with your family, it would be like, okay, we're blood related. We're blood related. I hate you automatically.
Not exactly. It's not hate automatically. It's more just like it feels more of an obligation and a chore than actually enjoying myself. So that's my personal preference, which is why I'd rather go with friends.
I understand.
This is only for situations where I'm leaving Idaho, you know, to unfamiliar environments. But anyways, Tim, since you obviously have had a better experience going out of the country, how was it?
I'll start by saying that the flight over the Atlantic took about 12 hours.
All right.
We flew from Boise to Portland, which is the exact opposite direction of Italy.
Okay. I have no sense of direction, so I will just take your word for it.
Okay. Have no sense of geography?
Both. Both, Tim. I have no idea where I'm at all points in time.
Sounds good. I'm leaving you in the woods.
Oh, no.
You know that saying where you don't have to outrun the bear, you just have to outrun your friend?
I saw this one book title called The Quick and the Dead, and it says there are 2 types of people when they come in contact with bears.
All right. We flew to Portland, and then we flew all the way over Canada, over Greenland, over Ireland. Landed in Paris, and then from there we actually landed in Rome.
Roaming around the
Exactly.
Christmas tree. Actually, it was right around Christmas, so yeah.
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 The first thing I want to say about Rome is that in Italy, the only internet provider is called Tim.
Of course. You took it over, didn't you?
Maybe just a little bit. This is how I take over the world.
First, take everyone's internet.
The joke is that because I am the provider of all internet, I'm the provider of all knowledge, and I see everything.
I see all. That is why you're the Dark Lord, I guess.
Yeah. I have eyes and ears everywhere.
But I am the Overlord. We'll get into that a little bit later in the podcast. Go on, Tim, though. How else was it? What things did you do? Where did you go? What did you see?
We saw a lot of cathedrals, a lot of paintings, a lot of really, really impressive artworks.
All right.
And a lot of statues.
Oh, boy. I'm assuming they're probably less than clothed.
Some of them, yes. Don't worry, I didn't take pictures of those.
Thank you.
Let's talk about New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve. What did you do on New Year's Eve?
So what happened was we went to this restaurant at 10 p.m. It was a pretty loud restaurant, like over 40 decibels. But
look, I deal with like 110 decibel sound every single day. 40 is nothing.
We'll get there.
Okay.
There was a group, which I assumed was some sort of bachelor party or something.
Ew.
Like 10 to 15 totally drunk Italians.
Oh, no.
The
Drunk
decibel
people.
level went from about 40 to between 80 and 100.
Oh, great.
We were the quietest table in the entire restaurant.
Okay. Do you want an award?
The quietest podcast on all of YouTube.
You can just unsubscribe right now. Click the button below. Click the unlike button. Never share this with your friends.
But that's not the best part. The best part was as soon as the fireworks started going off, there was no single place where the fireworks was being shot off. Like here in Idaho, we have parks and other such places that launch fireworks.
Because this is America and we don't have the freedom to shoot off our own fireworks.
A little bit. Every street corner, every street square had fireworks of some kind going off.
All right.
Firecrackers, even bigger ones that just launched into the air and sprayed gunpowder everywhere. And there were drunk people
Oh, no.
everywhere.
Oh, boy.
There were stoned people everywhere. One drunk guy I noticed was carrying a .45 caliber, shooting it into the air. I was like, "Oh my gosh, dude, are you serious?"
Wow.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Sorry, go on.
And then after we passed him by, because not dealing with that,
Ain't nobody got time for that.
we heard kind of maybe 100 meters to our left. Sorry, this is America. You don't deal in meters. Let's say about 50 feet to the left.
That's definitely not 100 meters.
I'm generalizing.
That's way general. Let's go with 300 feet. That's about 100 meters.
Whatever. In any case, we heard mortar shots being shot off.
What are motor shots versus regular shots?
So a regular gun will shoot some sort of caliber.
Mm-hmm.
Mortar shots are...
mortar.
Yeah, mortar.
M-O-R-T-A-R. I thought it was like M-O-T-O-R. I'm like, motor shots. Are you talking about like a machine gun or something? Like, what are you talking about? But mortar. Okay.
M80 mortar shots.
Dang.
These things were not quiet.
Boom!
The streets are so tightly together and the walls are so high that the sound echoing off the walls was deafening.
Wow.
For some reason, our guy took us up this giant hill at like 12:30.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's tired, half asleep, and we were just about ready to go back to the hotel. On top of this hill, we tried to find an Uber. The Uber was going to force us to pay 140 euros to get back.
And that's approximately $170, $180
Something like that.
US. Wow. Dang.
So instead of doing that, we decided to walk 2 hours all the way back to our hotel.
That's not that bad, but still saving $180. Dang. Wow. That's insane.
And speaking of walking, my total step count after all was said and done for this trip was 100,900.
No. It's
Wait,
192,000.
Yeah, 192,518 steps.
Well, how long was that for? 2 weeks? Or how long were you in Italy?
Week and a half.
All right. So let's give an average step count. Every single person, just on average per day, steps about 10,000 steps.
No, they don't.
I know, with cars and nowadays, it's a little bit less, but we're just talking about an average person.
I'll
So-
say 6,000 at most.
Yeah, if you're just commuting to work and back. But, yeah, so that means if you... Let me get the math. The math's up on my phone.
The maths.
Beep, boop, borp, zorp, beepity, boppity. All right, 192,000 divided by, let's just say 6,000. So that means you... divided by how many days? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We'll just say 11 days. That means he walked approximately 3 times the amount of that a normal person would walk every single day.
Well, to be honest, On New Year's Eve, we walked 38,258.
All right, so about 4 or 5 times the mountain of a normal person.
But on the last day when my brother got food poisoning, I decided to stay home at the hotel and take care of him. That day, I only got about 7,000.
Mm-hmm.
So my average was between 12,000 and 20,000 per day, except for New Year's Eve and the last day.
Basically, he just wants to brag that he's more exercise worthy than us.
I will say I lost about 5 pounds.
All right. Well, good for you.
The only problem was that there were no vegetables.
Why?
Because Europe likes selling bread, meat, and cheese.
My favorite.
You say that now.
Okay, I love vegetables, but they have to be cooked properly. Like, my favorite food stuff is Japanese food, like hibachi grill stuff. You know, stir fry, Mongolian grill, all those kinds of things. Those are my favorite types. But after that, it's like vegetables kind of hold less of an appeal to me.
Okay, let me ask you this. What do you think about broccoli?
If it's if it's cooked properly, I love it.
But you won't eat raw broccoli.
Heck no. Maybe with ranch, but I would only eat a few sticks of broccoli.
Sticks?
Whatever, heads of broccoli.
Heads of broccoli.
Not heads. Like the head of broccoli is gigantic. There's like bits of those heads of broccoli. I would eat like a few of those. Gosh, it's hard to describe unless we had visuals. Rage.
Okay, now I'm gonna like.
I shall eat 37 heads of broccoli every single day, just like Gaston, except he eats eggs, and that's just gross.
When I was a lad, I ate 4 dozen eggs every day to help me get large.
Okay, he like holds a monopoly on eggs. Like everyone has to sell him eggs in order for the economy to actually go through. Eggs would probably skyrocket in price.
Actually, that's a good thing because, well, it's a good thing to talk about because they're in a pre-industrial era. Like, they barely have gunpowder.
Mm-hmm.
How the heck is he finding that many eggs? Does he have, like, a chicken farm or something?
I think he just buys it from the farmers, and they suddenly don't have any left, so they have to increase the prices. Or maybe he's just a bully and steals it. I don't know.
But it's a small town. Where is he finding all these eggs?
Tim, I don't have the answers to the questions that you're asking.
It's just one of those lore things that's like, wait a minute, how is he doing this?
Wait, did he say he used to?
He used to.
Okay, so maybe he doesn't hold it now. Maybe he grew up someplace different? I don't know.
But now that I'm large, I eat 5 dozen eggs
Oh my gosh,
every...
you're right. Rage. Oh, okay. Inconsistencies, Disney. Explain this.
Where are you getting all these eggs?
That's what the title of the podcast is going to be. Where do you get all these eggs? The eggs have come to attack us. Oh my gosh.
That's actually not a terrible title. Who
Why
knows?
are the eggs gone?
Why are the eggs always gone?
Why are the... That's not good enough. Da, 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 da. Sorry.
They're taking the eggs to Isengard.
That's
Sauron forgot his shopping list.
My gosh, somebody make this a thing. It's going to be the lamest spin-off movie ever. The hobbits take the eggs to Isengard.
Oh my gosh. He ordered Uber Eats, and it was the hobbits delivering it to him.
Master Frodo, we can't give these things away. We got to eat second breakfast. No, Sam.
What about Elevensies?
Oh my gosh.
Well,
Copyright Tim and Nathaniel podcast.
yeah, pretty much. All right, now that that's just about over, I will say that the flight back, that took about 48 hours.
Crikey. Ugh.
The plane ride itself over the Atlantic took about the same amount of time. It took about 12 hours. However, we flew from Rome to Amsterdam, where I got some really delicious caramel-filled waffles.
Waffles?
As well as some chocolate-covered caramel-filled waffles.
Do you like waffles? Tim, you gotta finish that. Do you like waffles?
I'm not finishing that.
Do you like waffles? Do you like waffles? Yeah, I like waffles? Do you like pancakes?
Yes.
Do you like French toast?
Yes.
Do. Okay, we need to have a link in the description on something about that.
Oh my gosh.
I will do it for you, Tim.
Do it.
Do it. All right.
The problem is that flying from Amsterdam back to Portland, and then we were going to fly directly back to Boise. However, weather conditions in another part of the country prevented our plane from getting to Portland, so they just canceled that flight.
Oh, no.
So what happened was we flew to Seattle, spent the night in Seattle.
Oh, you should have said hi to one of my friends.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Oh, well.
It happens. Go on, though.
But after that, we flew back into Boise. The best part about this was that we were supposed to get our baggage in Amsterdam, but we were never told to.
Oh.
So we flew all the way home without our baggage.
Yeah.
And our baggage didn't arrive until like 3 or 4 days after we got home.
Well, at least they sent it back. That was kind of them.
It was kind of them, but it was also their fault.
Yeah, it kind of was. Yep.
So yeah, the flight back was interesting, to say the least.
Well, I'm glad you're back, Tim. Actually, I'm not. I want you to leave. This is my house now.
Maybe I should travel more. Maybe you'll miss me.
Not likely.
In that case, I'll just bring you along and then leave you in the forest somewhere.
Rude. You know I can't navigate the forests.
Exactly.
You're dead to me.
You were never alive in the first place.
I'm immortal.
No, you're undead. There's a difference.
Oh, yeah. No soul, no heart. Makes sense.
Speaking of undead, let's talk about your Overlord book.
All right. So this is going to be interesting. So for those of you who know, I am writing 4 books. 3 of them are a trilogy series, and they're going to take me the next 15 years because I'm planning on having them perfectly and expertly written. It's going to, I've already edited it so many times. It's insane. And just the notes by itself are 218 pages long. Just the notes. And then I get into the writing. So the book is probably going to be 1,000,000-something words. It's going to be definitely bigger than Lord of the Rings. But yeah, that's why it's going to take me another 15 years. But the 4th book I'm writing is going to be the very first book that I publish. It's going to be called The Life of an Evil Overlord. The whole concept of it is that I don't like the way that Hollywood produces movies. They have too many cliches. They incorporate too many things that are just so obvious, and you just expect them. Too many cliches everywhere, any place. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a whole book dedicated to making fun of this. The main overlord, his name is King Ravengon Knox, and he is the overlord of this whole empire, and he lives in the capital city of Sovngarde. And basically, he is just defeating heroes, but then suddenly he comes across a villain that he has to defeat. Rather than a whole bunch of heroes that he has to defeat, on a regular basis, he's gotten used to those. But he's never gone against a true villain before, somebody who's actually doesn't follow by the normal cliches. And so he has to basically protect his domain, try to figure out who it is, and throughout the entire journey, he is accompanied by his sidekick Igor, and you never see his face. He's always wearing robes. Then Lucia, she's an alcoholic. And then Justice Toner, the royal captain of the guard. And as you could probably tell by the name,
She's a stoner.
She's just a stoner. Oh, gosh. I have so many puns. Literally, this book is filled with puns.
Unless she's a justice owner.
Well, she is the royal captain of the guard, so she has some bit of morality to her. But for the most part...
Clearly, that's not the case.
Yeah. Mostly, they do it to get paid. So, basically, the whole story, though, it's... Basically, I try to address different problems that normal villains and normal heroes go up against that are just so cliche. henchmen. Like, how did the henchmen get there? It's not like they just appear there. In my story, I go across what the Overlord does, like even their pension plan. Not exactly, but like he goes and says to all these bodybuilders, he's like, hey, I'll pay for all your protein shakes for, you get all these benefit packages, and everyone starts lining up. And so obviously he goes through a small interview process, but it really depends just how he hires people. But for the most part, he wants henchmen that are dim-witted enough to not be dumb, but still take orders, however he says. Like, he just wants them to, be brainless. No offense to any bodybuilders out there, but that's why he goes through the interview processes. There are some smart bodybuilders, and he doesn't account for those. Also, he only hires bodybuilders that have 2-syllable names or less, so that he can remember them for the most part. Like, all of them are named Craig or Jim
or Tim.
Exactly. It's really easy names.
Steve.
Oh yeah, Steve. Steve dies. Sad Steve. Let's see. I have so many cliches that I try to destroy. One of them is, how there's always somebody like a hero or a hero's father figure, and he's about to die, and he says something meaningful before his death. So in my book, I'm going to add this line. They are about to die, and they say, I left $1 million under the... And then they die. And then the hero's like, no! Igor, the one of Nox's henchmen, not really henchmen, he's more of his right-hand man. He has a cloak on, and nobody can see his face or what's underneath his cloak. And I'm planning on having him go against somebody. It doesn't really matter who, but basically he keeps on pulling out weapons. And like, he pulls out a sword, it gets knocked aside. He pulls out a javelin. They're like, where do you hold all these weapons? And then Igor like pulls out his robes, and it shows like 30 billion weapons just all stacked within it. So it's one of those tropes where the hero or villain keeps on placing different weapons down, and it just gets funnier as it goes on. That's what I'm planning on doing with that. It's a good cliche. There are some good cliches. Let's see.
Oh man, you ever gonna run out of weapons? No, because I work at the weapon factory.
Another one that I thought of, Tim helped with this, was that Nox, the king, accidentally abducts the hero's love interest. I wanted to get rid of that trope where, the villain captures the princess or something like that, and then one of the heroes comes and rescues her, but there's another hero that's the other love triangle, and they both fight for her love or something stupid like that. So what I say on my notes here is that he accidentally abducts the hero's love interest, and I make it so that Nox literally wants nothing to do with her, but the princess wants to get abducted for some reason, and stows away on Nox's transportation. And basically she claims that he captured her, and he's like, no, I didn't. Please get off of my ship. And she's like, but you have to, you're the villain. He's like, please get off my ship. I have so many other things to deal with. You are literally the last thing. You're not even on my list of things to deal with. Please leave. And so she's like, she wants to have him turn away from his evil ways or something cliche like that. And Nox is, he just really just doesn't care, and she's like, fine then, my boyfriend or the hero will come and defeat you. And Nox is just like, you know what, I'm done with this, and kills her. Then after he kills her, like way after, then the two heroes, they're like, we've come to rescue the princess, and they're like, no, I've come to rescue the princess. And then the two heroes or whatever, they fight. Nox just pulls out both of his pistols and shoots them both in the head. And he says, why is everyone following along these pathetic cliches? And it's literally 2/3 of the way through the book that he actually notices that.
There's one more line you should add to that.
What?
Okay. When they come in and they're like, we're here to kill you and rescue the princess, he should be like, I don't even know what princess you're talking about.
Yeah. What princess? All right, I'm adding that. Got that down. All right, another one is, how the hero always like rides into the sunset with the girl or something like that, something stupid. And so I have it where the hero rides off into the sunset. Everyone's looking upon him like mystically. They're like, oh, he's so cool. Then he falls off a cliff. 5 seconds of elongated screaming, and you hear a thunk, dead silence afterwards, and then you hear, I'm okay. That's an okay cliche. There are okay cliches, and there are way overused ones, and I'm trying to get rid of the overused ones. Let's see. Another one is where all of the Legion of Terror, which is Nox's bodyguards, and all the bodybuilders that he hires, they're all surrounding the heroes in the middle of the lobby. They have guns on them, and Nox says, fire! And they all fire all at once. And you know how they're in every single hero show, they all dodge the bullets perfectly. The bullets ricochet or something like that. Or the hero gets conveniently hit right in the shoulder where it's easiest to mend or whatever stupid thing like that. What I turn around is that once he says fire, every single 50 Legion of Terror members, they all shoot at the heroes. They all have perfect sight on them. They all hit them perfectly. But once the smoke fades, then none of the heroes are hit. And there's a ring of fire and smoke and ashes around them. And then Nox is like, why the heck didn't any of you hit them? And then one of the guys in the balcony of the lobby is like, I'm sorry, boss, but they seem to have plot armor. And then the Nox is like, curses, I should have known.
I just want to point something out really fast. That sounds very much like the Last Jedi scene.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, in the Last Jedi, they actually had an explanation that he was just a Force ghost. That's,
plot armor.
No, not really. It's literally the bullets went through him. But in this case, it's just I'm making fun of probably episode 4 of Star Wars where, there's literally about 100, 200 stormtroopers and Han Solo comes swinging around the corner. And he's like, ah! And none of the stormtroopers are able to hit him. And there are so many scenes like that in every single movie where the hero dodges every single thing perfectly. And it's just, no, the heroes need to die. They need to get hurt, actually hurt.
What you could do is you could have their line of sight perfectly on the hero, but all the shots go off to the left or right
That's
of the
exactly
hero.
what happens. That's what I'm trying to say, is that they all shoot at once. And they all are perfectly aimed at the heroes. The heroes are in one spot. Mm-hmm. And if I make this into a movie or something, you would see through the Legion of Terror's eyesight, and they would see them perfectly aimed. And then suddenly, once they all fire all at once, there's no possible way they could have escaped, but none of them are scathed at all. And that's kind of the trope that I want to go. Oh, and I have another one. Mm-hmm. It's really quick. Actually, it's not real quick, but it's funny. So, you know how there's always the hero gets an overpowered weapon of some kind. I go into Dungeons & Dragons speak and have them explain the stats of the weapon. So imagine a sage or something bestows this sword to the hero. He says, I bestow upon you this overpowered sword which seals the darkness. Use it to vanquish any mob spawns and fulfill your destiny as the main protagonist of the story. Then the hero picks it up and they're like, what are the stats on this weapon? And then the sage picks out gets one of those random receipts out of his back pocket and he's like, let's see here.
Puts on his old man glasses.
Exactly. He's like, all right, this is the Gilded Sword of Destiny. And for those of you who know anything about Dungeons & Dragons, this is absolutely hilarious. It's a sword of sharpness with a 2d8 plus 6 damage, which is about double times as powerful as the highest stat weapon in the entire game. It has a 250% crit damage, meaning if you roll a 19 or 20, then it instantly multiplies any of your attack power by 250%. It has plus 5 lightning damage, plus a paralysis status effect when hit. It has an auto parry effect without the use of a bonus action, which means that without even trying, as a passive effect, you're automatically blocking anything that comes in contact with you. There's also an uncanny dodge perk, so if you aren't able to parry the blows, you're able to dodge the blows. You have a plus 10 speed when equipped. Now imagine this, 8 is the maximum speed, and you already can go basically across the entire map with a plus 8 speed. And this is a plus 10 speed on top of your normal speed. Literally, you're going faster than lightning. It is absolutely insane. Then there's a passive, and this is a lightning sword, so it has a passive effect of an increased dark sight within 50 feet by 1 light level, so it illuminates the area around you by 1 level. You also have a 50% AC buff, so all of your armor is all of its stats are multiplied by 1.5 times, and then the sage goes, "It's hella dank, man. It's freaking OP."
Also, if you throw it, it comes right back to you.
That's a boomerang sword. The frick, Tim, that's not how it works. I'm gonna add it.
It's a boomerang lightning sword.
Adding it. Boomerang lightning sword.
I'm just full of great ideas tonight, aren't I?
It's great. I had like one. Oh yeah, the rules. Let's see. Gosh, there are so many rules that I have in here. The Overlord, in my Overlord book, I'm planning on having the Overlord have certain rules that he follows by in order to defeat the heroes, and they all make perfect sense. So,
No, they make dollars.
gosh dang it, Tim. So one of them, I like this so much. I don't know what rule number it'll be, but it says this. Rule number, whatever, I'll say 25. Find all the books of prophecies. Burn all of the books of prophecies. Throw the ashes into the nearest dung heap. Have dung-eating worms eat the ash-dung mixture to create dung-eating worm ash dung. Then proceed to burn the dung heap, using the burnt dung-eating worm ash dung-eating worm mixture to fertilize the flower garden. Then, once the flowers have wilted or grown past their prime, burn the flowers. Oh yeah, and I have one last rule right below it that Tim suggested. It's, you may have misheard me. I didn't say burn most of the books of prophecies. I believe I said all of the books of prophecies. So that's the thing, is Tim was like, what if somebody found one of the books of prophecies? I'm like, no, not the Overlord. The Overlord would make sure that all of the books of prophecies are burned. So that way, no stupid hero could rise and defeat him. So yeah, it's beautiful. It's amazing. Please read my book. It's going to be amazing.
In 15 years.
No. That's my trilogy. This one, I'm thinking about trying to publish it, or at least get it done by the end of the summer. So actually really soon. And then once I get it to editors, get it, all of the workings worked out, make sure that it's perfectly formatted and everything like that. And I might have somebody, I might have to hire somebody to create the artwork on the front of it. But yeah, you'll be able to read this book hopefully by the end of 2018. Maybe. I hope. I don't know how this process works.
Personally, I rather doubt it, because there's a whole bunch of other processes that publishers have to go through and editors have to go through.
Well, I have a published friend, and he knows how kind of the whole process works. So worst case scenario is that it'll come out in like 2 years. But for the most part, I am planning on having it done by the end of the summer. That's the plan.
And what year do you want to be president?
2032.
You're on a little bit of a time crunch there, buddy.
No, I'm good. Look, I'm going to prepare to become president within the next 10 years. Really, this book, it's one of those things where I'm going to gain popularity from it. And everyone's going to love it. Because who doesn't like a supervillain taking over the world? Foreshadow to my life.
I actually think that this might be the book that discredits you so much that nobody will want you to become president.
Tim, come on.
Well, think about it. This book comes out, and then certain editors and publishers will think, oh,
my gosh, this guy's brilliant. This is so funny. He should be president.
More like, oh, this is the kind of books he writes. I wonder what kind of president he'll make. And then they'll assassinate you the second day you're in office.
Look, no, not the second day, the 6th year. 2048 is when... Actually, no, not the 6th year. Oh, I'm planning on only being president for 4 years. And then after I'm done being president, then I'm probably going to get assassinated. So 2048, that's probably when I'm going to die.
Well, there's no point in assassinating you once you're done. The damage is already done.
Yes.
So what? They're assassinating you just for the heck of it?
I think so. I don't know, Tim. Don't judge me. It's going to be a good book, okay? You can't just judge a book by me.
Yes, I can. You're the author. I can judge it heavily by you.
Which is why you should buy it. Maybe. Please, guys, back me up here. Comment below as to whether you would like my book. I like my book.
Back you up here. Beep, 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 beep.
Yeah. It's going to be great.
Well, speaking of 2018, You've already told us that you want to be a published author by the end of it.
Yep.
Is there anything else you want to get accomplished this year? Like fixing your 3D printer?
I need to fix that, yeah. I've been trying all this time, and Tim wants me to make him a frickin' Revan mask.
Because Darth Revan is the best.
Yeah, yeah, whatever he says, I don't care. Yeah, the thing is, though, is that my printer has just been a little bit annoying, and I've been trying to fix it. It's been doing just minor things, just continuously small minor things, and I have to fix all of them in order to actually get something that I can sell, not layer shifted things or they're splitting or there's a whole bunch of stuff. So I won't get into that, though. It's my own personal problem.
See, this actually reminded me of that one scene in Batman Begins where he's putting on the helmet for the first time, and Alfred's like, "There is a problem with the graphite, sir. Might I suggest not landing on your head?"
Yep.
So if you ever make helmets for anybody, just be warned. Don't land on your head.
Well, I'm not planning on making this professionally. This is for friends, but I need to give them a product that actually is decent, But I was never planning on making this a business. If I was, then I would have like a whole legion of 3D printers, and I'd be doing this full time. But no, not the plan. So yeah. Oh, I have a couple other rules that I have up, and they're pretty funny. So I have it so that rule number 9 is have code names for everything, not only to keep their respective meanings secret from outsiders, but also because they sound way cooler. And also, don't be afraid to name a super weapon something stupid like Ultra Ultimate Blastertron 3000. At the end of the day, as long as it works, there's really not anything the heroes or your underlings can do about it. Rule number 10. Keep a record of these code names on your person at all times, just in case you forget. Because me personally, I'm a pretty forgetful person. And rule number 11. Give the best items the worst code names, so that just in case of a burglary, or the thief would take the coolest sounding weapons first, leaving the most powerful and valuable ones behind.
Question.
Yep.
Question really fast. So you said keep a list of your inventory on you at all times.
Yep.
What happens if that list of inventory gets stolen?
It won't.
It's called sleight of hand, man. Even the best of us can get pickpocketed.
Look, how I have it set up is that the Overlord keeps all of his keys and all of his important stuff on kind of like a key linked chain, but the only way you can get it off is with a thumbprint scanner. So literally only he can take it off. And it has a lock on it. Look, he thinks of everything, Tim. He can't get pickpocketed. That's the way I have it. He has slight plot armor, okay?
So does he have the passive ability of 100% against pickpockets?
Yeah, basically.
How did he achieve that?
Very carefully, Tim. Very carefully.
Hey, that's my line. Whose line is that anyway?
I haven't actually seen that.
I haven't either. I just thought it was an appropriate comment.
Oh, yeah. Another scene. I'm sorry I'm going so much in this, but I find it super hilarious. So basically, the villain has these... okay, so there's Nox, the Overlord, and then there's a villain he's going against. So the villain has Nox's secret half-brother or something like that hostage. And so Nox is like, "Oh my Josh, the villain seems to have captured my secret twin brother that conveniently allows him to have the upper hand and progress the plot. How devious." And the villain's like, "Yes, and I'll kill him too unless I get exactly what I want." And Nox is like, "Well, I don't have all day. What do you want?" So the villain explains what he wants. Nox is like, "Oh yeah, sorry buddy, no can do. Thanks for telling me your plan though." And the villain's like, "Not so fast. Your twin brother, whom you have conveniently kept secret this whole time for the sake of progressing the plot, is mere moments away from his demise. I will kill him." "Do it. As expected from a week..." "Wait, I'm sorry, what?" "Do it. You're just gonna let me kill him? Let me think about it for a sec." "Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm letting you do. In cold blood, you'll watch your brother be killed." "Yep. You watch him scream in agony." "You got it. You watch his blood spill onto the floor, slowly suffocating him as his brain is deprived of oxygen, causing convulsions and..." "Pretty much." Nox looked at his watch. "Also, could you hurry up a bit? I have to be somewhere soon. Specifically out that door. Right about now. I'm bored and very hungry." There was a long pause. The villain says, I take it then he's not your secret twin brother whom you've conveniently never spoken of and is only present to progress the plot. Knox says, yeah, that about sums it up. He's just a lookalike? Yep. And has no relation to you whatsoever. You got it. And then there's like a long pause and the villain goes, well, shoot, and kills the brother. But what happens later is that Lucia, Nox's underling, she's like searching up on the internet and tries to find out who the secret brother was. And Lucia's like, yeah, your majesty, turns out that was actually your twin brother. It looks like you were separated at birth and he was raised as a farm boy and secretly an heir to your throne in case you were to ever die. Nox gaped for a moment. Ow! Lucia goes, so you accidentally killed your actual twin brother. Seems like it. Oh, well, that's unfortunate. Yeah. That must suck. And there's a long pause. Well, shoot.
I wasn't planning on dying anyway, so who needs an heir?
I know. It's funny because, there's always the secret brother trope where somehow they get involved and, they never knew about each other. And I just wanted to kill them right off the bat. Where was it? It was the twirly something. Oh, yeah. So, like I said on one of my rules, all the really awesome weapons have to have stupid names. So Nox's most powerful weapon is the Rudy Tooty Aim and Shooty. And then there's also an excavator that basically destroys through anything. And it's called the Bumpy Wumpy Whirly Twirly Purple Anti-Dirt McScoopy.
Oh my gosh.
The sequel.
What happened to the first one?
I don't know, Tim. I didn't make this. Actually, I did. I should have a backstory for the first McScoopy.
It's like the Unsinkable too. What happened to the first one?
Titanic.
Well, the Titanic sank.
Yeah.
This one is called the Unsinkable, so it can't have sunk.
So it's the Unsinkable, the sequel.
It must have died some way aside from sinking. It just got lost somewhere.
Anyways, please buy my book when it eventually comes out. It'll be called The Life of an Evil Overlord. It'll have King Ravengon Nox and his 3 sidekicks, Igor, Lucia, and Justice. And yeah, it's going to be amazing. Vote for me for president, too. I need the votes.
Yeah, you're going to need as many votes as you can, because I'll be honest, I don't see you being president.
My gosh, Tim, you're so negative.
I'm not negative.
Let me dream, Harold.
I'm not being negative. I'm just telling you the truth.
Look, one thing that I see is that you're supposed to have fun in life, but at the same time, you're supposed to be a leader, and I'm trying my best to be a leader. And by being a leader, I can gain publicity by writing about an overlord that, takes over the world.
Not every man who desires power should get it.
I don't desire power. I desire to be a leader. And the best way I see being a leader is influencing as many people as I can.
Not everybody should be leaders.
I don't agree with that.
You think
I think everyone should learn how to be a leader. I think that most people aren't adept at being a leader because they haven't learned how.
No.
Come on, Tim. You're just cynical.
No, I'm not being cynical. I'm just saying because some people are much better followers than they are leaders.
Yes, but that's the thing. You should at least learn how to be a leader. And you might not want to. You might not be adept at it, but at least you should still learn how to influence people. Like, for instance, conflict resolution. Everyone should learn how to have arguments without crying and ruining your friendships for life, It's the same thing with leadership abilities. You should be able to learn how to communicate well and effectively to any person that you come across. But also you should be able to, just in general, know how to influence people and know how people think so that you're not just spouting off random nonsense and hoping that people will vote for you.
Relatable much?
Rude, Tim. I'm not spouting off random nonsense. This is all from a book I'm writing, and I think it's hilarious. But for this specific podcast, there are some times that I go off on random rants, but we kind of plan for it. So, we put in a lot of amount of time for me to rant about certain topics. So it's okay.
Fair point. But my problem is that if everybody wants to be a leader, how are they going to lead anybody who, if there's nobody to lead, then...
Specialization, Tim. Some people are good at certain things. Like, for instance, if somebody's good at programming, then maybe they should lead in the area of telling people how to program. For instance, teachers. Teachers should be leaders. Some aren't. Some are just teachers. But some need to be leaders by taking the forefront of focusing on their students' well-being first. That's what it means to be a leader, is to make other leaders. Really, that is the definition of a leader. It's not to make more followers, because that's just a cult.
Sounds like our public school system.
Yeah. Now you understand why I hate it so much.
Well, I hate it too, but for other reasons.
I hate everything about the public school system. So that's why I want to be president. For one reason, at least, is to change the public school system so that we're not all growing up and becoming mindless slaves to the government, which is what they have already become, or what they've already wanted us to become and have already successfully done.
I'm happy just homeschooling my kids.
I know, right? Just homeschool them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the end of the podcast, I think. Just homeschool your kids.
Yeah. Homeschool your kids. Don't buy gold. Buy food.
Do drugs.
Actually, I saw a really great meme the other day. It said...
Ugandan knuckles. There can be only one breeder. Sorry.
No, not that one. It's
You do not know the way.
It was this picture.
You must have Ebola to know the way. Spit on him. Spit on him.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not.
There was this picture where it said, "Kids, if someone offers you drugs, take it, because drugs are expensive."
They are. And sell them on the black market.
Exactly.
Get some money, take it home to your parents, say, look at the money I got, and they'll be so proud of you.
They don't have to know where it came from.
All right.
Anyways,
do drugs, kids. Don't be in school. Gosh, we're such bad influences.
I never claimed to be a good influence. So,
create a heroin farm.
Yep.
Sell all the opium. And yeah, vote for me for president.
Become rich by voting for Nathaniel 2032.
You got it. All right. We'll see you next podcast, and hopefully we won't have a 4-month hiatus.
And lots of technical difficulties.
I know, right?
See you guys later.
Goodbye.
Bye.